Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the session on, Australia and New Zealand programs. I'm Annette Russell, the advisor for these programs, and I look forward to telling you a little bit about them, after which I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Please feel free to use the chat box anywhere along the way. I have Melissa, my great moderator, who will help me filter through the questions at the end and be sure that they're all answered. So we'll look at the overview of all the programs in Australia and New Zealand. They have a lot of similarities. First of all, they're top-ranked universities worldwide. If you were to take a glance at the QS World Rankings, you'd be surprised. They often change places too in the top rankings. They're very large and comprehensive, so courses in most faculty and departments are available, which makes it really easy to fit into your academic path at Georgetown. They have a really large international student population, so you can be surprised by the amount of diversity, both at the university and in the student population or student areas around the universities. These are all direct enrollment programs, which Georgetown has historically liked so much because you are entering and integrating into the local education system, sitting alongside local students and taught by local faculty. They have literally hundreds of clubs and societies to join at each university. So if you have a special interest or you want to meet people right off the bat, that's a great way to do it. And on top of all of that, these are top-ranked cities for quality of life and student life. They're top-ranked for health and safety, so please be sure and tell your loved ones. And as if you didn't know, they're English-speaking, but of course you'll have to learn a few fun colloquialisms to up your game with Aussie and Kiwi English. We partner with 4 universities in Australia: Australian National, Melbourne, New South Wales, and Sydney, and 3 in New Zealand: University of Auckland, Otago, and Victoria University. I'm pretty confident that any of these would work well for you given how comprehensive they all are. So picking your top choice may end up being the hard part. In order to do that moving forward, you're going to want to spend some time on each university's website, browse their course list, talk to your academic deans and departments about what your academic needs and interests are, and you will be able to narrow down your choice. It's important to know about the academics that they run on a different schedule, a Southern Hemisphere calendar, which is actually operates on the calendar year. So their first semester of the new year is our spring semester, and the second semester is our fall semester. The dates vary widely too. So our spring semester would go from February to late June, and our fall semester would go from late July to late November at an Australia or New Zealand university. UNSW, University of New South Wales, and University of Sydney have both recently adapted their calendar programs so that you do have a few options that align more closely with our US calendar. And I know that's important for many of you if you're concerned about non-negotiable early internship start dates. A full course load in Australia and New Zealand is 4 courses, which transfers back as 16 Georgetown credits. But don't be surprised if you're doing a wildly different number of credits on site. It could vary from 24 to 72 for the semester based on how they do their counting, and it's all the same, 4 courses. You should know that in terms of grades, they do some numerical marking, so 0 to 100, and in order to get GU credit, you need to get 50 or above, which is the equivalent of a C or better in our system. A quick look at the Australia map shows that the universities we partner with are located in the southeastern states of New South Wales and Victoria. This is the most heavily populated part of Australia, and obviously more population lives along the coastline. So southeastern Australia. I think you saw that in the Tuesday takeover in the beginning. Now, as we go through each university, Australian National University is located in the capital city of Canberra. It is a place to study in the heart of Australian politics. So in that sense, it's a lot like DC. It's great for government and international relations. but you can study anything beyond that as well. It's really strong in arts and humanities, the sciences, so you should never let yourself feel boxed in by that. You can see that the city of Canberra is a really green city nestled near the mountains. It's a great place to have sort of a college town experience. As we move forward, we're going to see much larger universities, so this is a good place to have the college town experience. A highlight of their academic program is the opportunity to obtain an honors research internship for course credit here. Georgetown historically doesn't approve many internship courses for credit, but this is one place where there is that possibility after you gain approval from your school and your dean. You could have an internship in an NGO, a governmental organization, or possibly even in the Australian Diet. As we move to the University of Melbourne, the school gets much bigger, more than double the size already, and the city, of course, is 10 times bigger than Canberra, so about 5 million. Melbourne is the second largest city after Sydney. It's known for its arts, music, theater, and has much more of a European feel from what people say, so sometimes that's a very big draw for students. The local residents like to brag that they have the most cafes, restaurants, and live music venues of anywhere in the world. They're very strong in a number of departments. They are in the top 20, I believe, for accounting and finance, psychology, computer science, and many of the sciences, so a great place to study. Melbourne is also located not that far from the Great Ocean Road on the southern coast of Australia, which is really a spectacular place. The University of New South Wales is in a suburb of Sydney, closer to the coastal area, actually. The suburb of Kensington is very student-oriented, and the university itself has over 60,000 students. So you're going to find that UNSW, University of New South Wales, and University of Sydney both are extremely large, but they don't necessarily feel that way because a lot of Australian students commute to campus or live at home, and so it feels very manageable once you've settled in. The university is very strong in business and economics, arts and sciences, environmental sustainability, and many other topics. They've also done something really unique. They've come up with this term called tailored term calendar. So a few years ago, they changed their entire university system to trimesters. And now if you want to go in our spring semester, you would go from early January to mid-May by doing an intensive summer course in January, because it's Southern Hemisphere, followed by 3 courses in their first trimester. And that builds 4 courses as a full course load exactly along the same dates as the Georgetown semester. And then in the fall semester, you would do an intensive winter course in August, followed by the 3rd trimester. So it's very creative, and it actually has increased their enrollments, I believe. The University of Sydney is a longtime exchange partner, as are actually Melbourne and UNSW. It's more centrally located in Sydney. It's about a 20-minute bus ride from UNSW. And I would just compare them by saying that, if you're familiar with DC, Sydney would be DC and UNSW would be Bethesda. So it's not that far away. It's all in the same city. But there are over 60,000 students. It's very strong in a number of faculties, arts and humanities, sciences, social sciences, business as well. I begin to start feeling like I'm doing a broken record because all of these universities are strong in most of the different courses. So again, you'll want to browse through their course list to find what pops out at you when you're doing your research. University of Sydney offers 2 different programs. The regular program on the traditional Southern Hemisphere calendar, so that would extend from February to late June. And then they've added a so-called spring-friendly program because they adapted their calendar, and it looks quite a bit like UNSW's. In the spring semester, you would do the intensive summer course in January, followed by 3 courses in a shortened spring semester. and allowing you to get home earlier for an internship. By the way, there is an internship course that they offer there and that they market quite heavily. It's approved for MSB students, but not universally for other students in other schools at the moment. Now we'll move to New Zealand, and we've got the map again showing Auckland in the top of the North Island, Wellington in the middle, and then Dunedin on the South Island. Before we look at each university, I wanted to say a few words about IFSA. IFSA is the Institute for Study Abroad. They're a provider that helps facilitate the program on site. It's still a direct enroll program, but they have in-country staff, they have added student support, they have a really excellent orientation where they pick you up from the airport when you first arrive in New Zealand, and they whisk you away to a Maori education community where you learn about Indigenous rights and you spend the night, meet the elders, the local elders, and then you go to a Shakespeare Regional Park for a few days of orientation and outdoor activities. It's a great start to the program, and you make your friends among the international students first, and then before you integrate into the universities as you scatter around the country. IFSA also offers extracurricular activities throughout the semester, and they do have a very strong focus on community and culture, which is the integrating you into the society. They offer scholarships, so I want you to be sure and look at those when you are applying to an IFSA program. And I'll mention also that the New Zealand government is quite active in sponsoring scholarships, so they're becoming increasingly available. The University of Auckland is New Zealand's largest and highest ranked university. It's got top ranked faculties, as you see here, in anthropology, English, philosophy, and psychology. It's New Zealand's most diverse and multicultural city. First of all, because it's the biggest. It's got a population of 1.5 million in a country of about 5 million, by the way, significantly smaller than Australia. It's also located on the top of the North Island, and in the Southern Hemisphere, that's a warmer climate than the South Island. So it has a much stronger influence of Maori and Pacific communities in the city. It's a great place to study. We send a lot of students there, and it's got the nickname City of Sales for kind of obvious reasons. Victoria University of Wellington is a program we added in recent years. It's similar to the DC of New Zealand so obviously it's going to also be strong in political science and international relations, but also in the biological sciences and humanities. Almost any university in New Zealand, they focused on the fact that they have courses about Maori studies that you can take, as well as sciences, so a wide range. They also have research opportunities here, an internship program, and an award-winning extracurricular leadership program. And that program brings together leaders from the community as speakers. It helps you make connections in the community, helps you do activities and maybe volunteer activities. So it's an interesting way to integrate. Students tend to like Wellington because it's a population 500,000. It's a little bit easier to navigate than the big city of Auckland, and it's very popular and beautiful. You can see that there are nice mountains in the back. That's one thing about New Zealand. You're not far away from dramatic scenery wherever you are. The last university is University of Otago. That we also added recently. It's located in Dunedin, which has a population of about 250,000, but I call it a college town because it has quite a different feel from both Auckland and Wellington. It was New Zealand's first university established on the South Island, and it's known as one of the most beautiful campuses in the world, which always makes me smile because it does have some similarities to a place we all know and love. It's strong in business, humanities, and the sciences and health sciences, and it's also good for pre-med. I might add here that I didn't say about University of Auckland that they have been telling us that they're trying to put together a pre-med track for study abroad students, so there may be some really good courses there for you as well. I wanted to point out that the SFS hosts the Center for Australia, New Zealand and Pacific Studies, in case you didn't know about it. You can sign up there and then get invitations to speakers and special events. I got an invitation this morning to a webinar in a few weeks about the New Zealand election that's upcoming. And the professors who are hosting it are from University of Auckland and Victoria University. So it's a great way to really feel like you're connected to the region. You can also earn a certificate in Australia, New Zealand, and Pacific Studies. And if you're planning to study abroad there, that's already kind of knocking off some requirements for that. So definitely something to look into. I'm sure you're going to want to find some more information on these programs, and we ask that you go to our studyabroad.georgetown.edu website, where you'll find brochures on every program, not only in this region, but other regions. You can also sign up for a Study Abroad 101 session, arrange a meeting with me or any other advisor in the world. And as part of your preparation for study abroad moving forward, be sure to talk to your academic deans and faculty. As mentioned before, they're going to really help you narrow down your choices. Sometimes they have connections at various universities or know some of the courses in depth. So that would be a good place to start. And then you're really going to find out about the student experience, of course, from the peer advisors and the returnees from the region, of which we always have quite a few, and they're always quite positive. So those are something to research in the coming weeks or months, depending on when you're going to study abroad. I've put my email address there at the end. If you have some follow-up questions that you want to ask me at a later time, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. But first, we'll go and see if we have any questions that you'd like me to answer.
And we do. So, Annette, the first question is, I'm a STEM student. Can I still get STEM credits abroad?
Yes, absolutely. The study abroad application process incorporates the kind of pre-approval from your department. So you're going to come up with a list of courses that you think might work for you, take them to the department to have them evaluate, and then if they approve the courses, you can get STEM credit there, definitely.
Okay. Are there programs about environmentalism in Australia and New Zealand that I can do?
Yes, almost any university really focuses on that because of the environment playing such an important role in both countries. So I think you would find courses at any of the universities we discussed that would work for you in that regard.
Okay. Can you talk more about clubs and extracurricular activities?
Sure. As I mentioned, they have literally hundreds, I want to say 200, 300 clubs at each of the universities. So you'll have a lot to choose from, and they can vary from a lot of sports clubs, obviously, but there'll be topic-related clubs, art clubs. I know there's chocolate clubs, winemaking clubs, but I will tell you one story about a student who said to me that she wanted to go to Australia and she was interested in keeping up her basketball skills. So I reached out to the director at one of the universities there and asked if she could join an intramural program, and he said, sure. And it turns out that she went to Australia, actually became a walk-on on the UNSW basketball team, and they went to the regional unigames and won a silver medal. And she consequently met every basketball player, male and female, in Australia. So there are these random, really cool stories, and I always say that you should ask about whatever interest you have and kind of seek it out. There might be possibilities you never thought were there to begin with.
Awesome. Someone else asked, where do students often travel, explore when studying in Australia and New Zealand? Do they mostly stay in their host country, or do they go to other countries around the area?
I think, students who go to Australia usually try to go to New Zealand. It's really an opportunity to experience both countries, even if one is on a short-term basis. And likewise, New Zealand students go to Australia. Students do manage to travel to some of the regional islands like Fiji. I know I've heard Bali. Occasionally a student will have their sights set on some place like East Asia, but actually it's much farther than you would think. So trying to stay as local as possible is really the best way to get the most out of your experience.
Great. Someone else asked, can you dive deeper into the summary or specifics of programs for those with non-negotiable June 1st internship start dates?
Unfortunately, in New Zealand, they're all on the traditional Southern Hemisphere calendar. So if you're going in spring semester, you just have to be prepared to extend your semester into June. And I always say that as you're looking for internships, do try to negotiate, first of all, because you're having this world-class global experience that might help your everything about you and make you more, I've got stuck again in my words, but the two in Australia are UNSW, University of New South Wales, that is, and University of Sydney. They both offer spring semesters with shortened dates so that you can end either mid-May at UNSW or end of May for Sydney.
Great. I don't see any other questions, but if you have further questions after the presentation, Annette's email was on the slide before. You can also find, look on our website and go to meet with OGE staff members, and you can find how to find an appointment there with Annette. This recording will be available in several weeks on our YouTube. And if you have any further exploration you want to do, we have brochures on our website as well. Annette, do you have anything else before we end the presentation?
No, but thank you guys for coming, and I do hope to chat with you later. It's a great place to study abroad, and I'd be happy to work with you.
All right, thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.